All right, here we go. Here we go. What up? What up? What up? It's Sports Roundtable. We are live in our virtual studios, just hanging out. We're looking over everywhere. We're looking over Stone Mountain pretty much and all that. So we are here. I'm your main man, H.O. from Bankhead, and my main man, Hancock, the sports superhero. Hancock, what's going on with your bro Ski?
Big homie, what's up, man? Ready for another wild pack ride here on the SRT show, baby. You know what's up.
Yes, sir, man. Listen, man, it's a whole lot of things going on, but before we even get started, man, shout out to everybody who continue to follow us and keep us going. We're gonna have some more new listeners tonight. So hey.
You
What do
bringing
you
them
know?
in, aren't you?
Yes, sir. But check this out. Just got a text before the show that Kelly Oubre lied about getting hit. He was walking. And rumor has it that now they're investigating a domestic situation instead of a car accident.
Didn't have nothing to do
And the
with
man
James Harden, dude.
listen. The man had broken ribs and all this other kind of stuff. And ain't no, only a man would do that to another dude, right? I mean, ain't no woman breaking no ribs. Well, I mean, unlikely.
Unlikely.
I should say. Yeah, unlikely.
So you telling me it was not a car accident?
I don't know what to make of that then, Hand. If he got broken ribs, but there's no car to validate his story, what do we make of this? If now they're investigating a domestic violence situation, so where could this go?
Well, if they're doing an investigation, they could go a lot of different ways. You can find out if there really is some criminal intent. There's a lot of things to go on. It remains to be seen. So your sources, they coming up with something. I'm sure you know something more. You might not be sharing everything.
I got let me see. I had got a screenshot of what was going on, but it's it. Let me see. Let me read this.
Yeah, Ted. Let's get some background. Give me some background.
Yeah, Philadelphia police said investigators do not have any video of or photographic evidence at this time showing Sixer guard Kelly Oubre was struck by any vehicle Saturday night. To be clear, if you read the tweet very carefully, I never said Kelly committed any crime, never said Kelly committed any battery. Kelly was the only one with injuries reported. And that's all we got.
And this hit by a car, was that meaning he was in an accident involving another car and he was in one, or was it supposedly a car?
He was walking.
Oh, really?
He was walking, and supposedly a car hit him, a hit and run. But no evidence of a car being even with video. Maybe they need to hire my boy Colombo and see what's going on.
Oh no, sounds a little strange then, because I didn't read into the background story. I thought it was, I saw a little news blurb on it, but I didn't go into that.
Sources tell us that a hit and run story by Oubre was made up to cover for a domestic assault. So, Han, how are you going to get broken ribs in an assault?
Well, it depends on who's assaulting you, man. It may have been, we can't really say because I don't know. I don't know if someone, was hired to assault him, or maybe,
my thing is, so at this point, did he get jumped on, or if the cameras didn't find any evidence of a car, did they find any evidence of a fight?
I don't know. Like I said, there's some open-ended stuff here, so we don't know, man. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna come out. You know, just like
I'm sure it will.
it's gonna come out eventually.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to Mr. Draymond Green before we even get this thing started. Draymond Green all over Twitter last night because as they say in the streets, he yoked Gobert. He was yoking him. Not choking him, but yoking him.
He yoked him.
That means that he had his arm around his neck and he was moving it like that. That's yoking.
That's yoking. That's a different thing. It's different than
it's a different thing. So my question to you is, are we getting tired of Draymond antics?
Well, you know what it is. When you can't play as well as you used to, you have to resort to something else. And that's now a physical play. I mean, this didn't even happen in the heat of the game. This was just, kind of over the top. I do understand taking up for your teammates. He was, holding Klay, and Klay got hit by another player while he was holding him. So, coming to Klay's defense, I can understand that. But then it's time to let him go. And he just held on and held on. I'm thinking Draymond probably gonna get about 3 or 4 game suspension, to be honest with you. But like I said, I think when the end of the road is coming and he can see it, he's resorting to more physical and borderline. He's always been, borderline or right up to that line. But when he could play, he could, you could overshadow or look the other way. Now that your game doesn't dictate that you're still one of the best, this looks bad.
So my other sources say that it all started with Jaden Daniels and Klay Thompson. Daniels went to Washington. Klay Thompson went to Washington State. And Washington State game is coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, but I would worry about that if they played there at the same time. Klay was at Washington State. This dude probably was still in middle school. I just, I don't
they both fighting for allegiance, I guess.
Yeah, well, I don't see it. Jaden probably, how long did he stay at Washington? Probably a year.
Yeah, it was a year.
Yeah, so he didn't build any allegiance. These kids now, they go to these schools for a year. It's just a stepping stone to the NBA. There's no real affiliation or alliance, for staying like 3 years and then you really have that college experience. He probably went to about 3 classes, man. You know what I mean? And then it was over. He played during the basketball season, never set foot on campus again. So it is what it is. But I don't know if it had anything to do with the college game. I just think that Klay, I think that Draymond, their games aren't what they used to be, and they know it, and it's showing.
What about the people saying the Ant-Man started the whole thing by getting Draymond pissed off the night before?
No, they should have left Ant alone because Ant closed him out. See, it's good. You can talk when you can bag the game up, but when you start pulling on people's cape and you can't keep Superman from Clark Kent turning into Superman, because that's what happened.
They said Ant-Man scored the last 15 points on Draymond, and he was calling him out like, I'm going to ISO him.
Right. See, and that's what, youth, man, Father Time is undefeated. You can play and do your thing, and Draymond can huff and puff. And, Draymond played over his head and above his ability for years. But the time is coming. That road is getting short, man. And these people now, he could, for lack of a better term, he could punk a lot of people and get through stuff, but that's over with. People look at Draymond now as not, I won't say a character or something like a clown or nothing like that, but they still look at him like, man, your time is up. You were a great champion, warrior, whatever, but you don't have the game to back up what you're still trying to put out there. It just is what it is.
Yeah. So my next question before we get into our hot news is Ant-Man a superstar?
He's a star right now. I think he has to take his team to some different heights. He had a chance a couple years back, He made a great 3-pointer that put them in overtime, but they weren't able to close out that game against Memphis. That was that was a great series, and they were bordering on right there because they had the series a couple of times. I think they were up 15 or 20 points in 2 or 3 of those games in that series and weren't able to close out, and Memphis won the game. And you thought, well, maybe they're there, but then there's always been that underlying thing on whose team is it? Is it Cat's team or is it Ant's team? Or, who really is the guy on that team? Then they got Gobert, thought that would push him over, and that really didn't help. I don't think he's a superstar. I do think he's close to becoming a real star in this league. He has the game to back it. Now he just has to prove it in those big moments.
If he's one of the top 5 players in the league right now today, how can he not be a superstar? Or is it possible? Can you be a top 5 player and not be a superstar?
I don't think I'm not gonna say he's top 5 anyway. I'm just not gonna put him there yet. Is he bordering into that top 10? Yeah, I think he is. I think he's coming close there. But there's some names out there. There are 2 people on Phoenix team. Is he better than either one of those guys? Is his star bigger than Booker or Durant? I don't think so. Is his star bigger than Steph Curry? I don't think so. Is his star even bigger than LeBron James? I don't think so. LeBron still can average 30 and do what he do. Don't get me wrong. Is Ant right now a more athletic player or whatever? But in the crunch, and you coming down to, we've seen LeBron win games and get his team through some times. We haven't seen Ant do it, so I can't put him there. Is he better than Giannis? Nah, I don't think so.
No.
So Embiid? Nah, I don't think so. When I look, no, I don't think so. When I look at Ant right now, I put him in that category right there with where the Tyrese's are coming. Tyrese Maxey, Tyrese Halliburton. Those are your next guys.
What about Shai Gilgeous, SGA?
Shai Gilgeous, exactly. I mean, Shai is coming. He's close. He's right there. Also, we don't get to see him a lot, but out there in Sacramento, the point guard. I mean, Fox can ball. So, I mean, there are a lot of stars that we can go, and I'll put him right in their level, but I don't think you put them in superstar level right now. That's just my take. I don't know. People could feel different, but I don't see him as a superstar yet. He's a star. He's coming.
He's a star. He's coming. All right, maybe we'll get down to the roundtable discussion and talk about more of that here real quick as people are still coming on in. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
I see you, Marty. Marty see you upset with Cat. Cat don't have that gene. Cat ain't fighting nobody. I don't see that. Yeah, Cat.
Are you surprised? Cat is from Jersey now.
Well, he by Jersey by way of what? The islands, though, right? And not to say nothing is wrong with being from the islands. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Cat got that kind of gene in it. I don't think so.
All right, man. Well, here we go. It is time for, you already know, for our hot news. Hot news sponsored by our good old friends, Big Easy Grill, 1193 Collier Road, Atlanta, Georgia. Big Easy Grill, the place to be if you're looking for some seafood, the best Louisiana seafood in town. Big Easy Grill is the best place to go if you're looking for some great seafood. The shrimp, it takes 2 bites to get rid of one, and the crab claws are the number 1 appetizer in town right now, based on reviews. So 1193 Collier Road. Make sure you let them know SRT sent you. Mention SRT when you get your bill, and you get 10% off in the bill, $25 or more. I had college football poll is out. It came out last night, and the Georgia fans are they almost had a parade last night down in Athens.
They used to them. They used to them the last 2 years. They used to parades.
Yeah, and they almost now. This is the only thing I say, and this just me. You know, okay, Georgia hadn't lost in 2 years, but them 2 years ain't got nothing to do with this year. If you in the top 4 by the end of the season, then that's all you should be concerned about. To me, it didn't matter if they were, even if they wasn't one last night. To me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. But my thing is if you continue to play the way that you play, and you be the first team to three-peat, then just like Marlon said, I think you'll get all the respect that you need.
Okay. I have to give them props though, big homie. I just gotta be real. When you put up numbers and you go 27 wins in a row, and people aren't able to knock you off that perch yet, and you played in the toughest conference that we've seen in the last 20 years or so, and you dominated it, undefeated, and may go undefeated again throughout the regular season, because I think they'll get to the SEC championship game unscathed. I just look at it a little different way. They have a right to boast, but this is a tough thing. They're undefeated.
It is. Yeah, ain't no doubt about it. They are undefeated, but I think you finna put your boxing gloves on right now, because Bob just put something in the chat that I don't know if you really like.
Yeah. And hey, I'm a realist. When I look at the Florida State situation, you have to take their wins and their conference with a grain of salt. It's not even top heavy. To me, they have one team, and one team that's really has any chance of getting to the 4, and that's Florida State. I don't think North Carolina has a chance. I don't think Clemson has a chance. So Florida State has to win out and be undefeated. As far as Washington, they ever since the Oregon game, they really haven't looked this strong. I mean, I'm just being honest. And I was one of the guys singing their praises when I saw them early.
Yeah, you were bumping for them really early.
But I have to call it, what's going on now. They still have a chance. I mean, if they win out and they beat Oregon again, which is going to come down to I believe them and Oregon in the final game, Oregon will have that tough fight, I guess what they call the whatever that is they have with Oregon State. But if they get through that game and then they're standing there with one loss, the winner of that Washington State, that Washington and Oregon game will have a say, because there are going to be some other losses that come down. You'll have a loss with somewhere along the line. You have Ohio State and Michigan. They're going to play each other. So I think the winner of that game, if everybody else stays unscathed, you're going to get one team out of the Big Ten. So he still has his chance. Bob, I understand that you should feel disrespected. You're undefeated. You've had big wins. You've been in the top 10 all year. Hey, it is what it is, but you know how it is. That conference has not had the respect for the last 10 years, really. So it's going to take a little time.
I agree. All right, so here go another one, hand I want you to come in on with this one.
Oh, yeah.
So, but before you say something, let me say this. Did you think, and this is just me, did you think, now follow me on this, hear me out. Did you think that Georgia was not going to be number 1 before they played in the SEC championship game? Because in my mind, the SEC championship game means that they can play Alabama, lose, and don't have to fall out of the top 4.
I don't know. If they lose that game, I agree with you. It's going to be hard, because that will be their only loss in 3 years. Now, the game has to be a close game. If they go into the SEC championship game and they get blown out or beat soundly by Alabama, then I don't think they'll get in. If it comes down to where, it's a good game, I think they'll still get in. Bama has to win. If they're the team that faces them, they have to win to get in. They have to win out. They're going to have to beat Georgia.
So
And
this is what Marta said the same thing. He said if Georgia lose to Bama, then they out of the playoffs. It make no sense to him. But
yeah, I just think if
I think
it's a
that's
close
why.
game, if it's a
Yeah, I
close
think
game,
that's why
they're in.
they're number one now. Because if they do lose, just out of respect, I just think that Bama and Georgia may get in, especially if some other stuff go on with, like Florida State play Florida. They got to, and they still got to play the ACC championship game. So it's a lot going on with that.
Yeah, well, Florida State, like I said, they if when they get through that ACC, which is not a good conference, as long as they stay undefeated, I think they're going to get in. But Bama, I don't think Bama even needs Texas to fold. They just need to beat Georgia. They beat Georgia. I think they punched their ticket. That's a change from me earlier when D. Will and I were going back and forth and talking about them versus a Pac-12 team. I just think that what I've seen out of Bama, they've garnered more respect. The team has started to really look like a viable national championship team over the last few weeks. They're playing good football, and you have to give credit to Milroe, man. I honestly, at the beginning of the year, I was like, "There's no way this guy could lead a team and get to the point they have as a quarterback." He just didn't look the part. I didn't see it at all. But man, he's making reads and actually hitting his second and third, options.
Read, yeah.
And he's actually, using his legs. We knew he could use his legs, but he's using his legs in a good way. It's not just like one read and I'm running. So I just look at it now, man, like Alabama is coming, and I think they're getting that respect.
Yeah, well, they go do that. So let me ask you this. Speaking of being impressive, before we move to our next topic, who has impressed you the most as far as quarterback play, Jalen Milroe or Carson Beck?
Well, I was out on both of these guys, being honest with you. You have to give Milroe a lot of respect because, we're talking about a 180, man. This guy, when I first saw him, I was like, there's no way. Yeah, I didn't see it at all. But Carson Beck has earned some respect from me also, man, because I've seen him, he has talent around him, but you can see the confidence has grown as the season has gone on. And he looks the part of a quarterback now. He does. I thought he might be shaky. I didn't see it, but he's kind of making me seem like he's a better quarterback than I thought he was. Now, so I'll give Milroe a slight edge because of how much he's grown over what he started. But I've seen a lot from Carson Beck this year, a lot.
Now, you did see that Brock Bowers came back early.
Yes.
And caught a touchdown. Are they more dangerous now? Was Carson Beck injury a blessing in disguise to let folks know or to make sure Carson Beck knows that he has other options and he can use them?
Well, it's just like anything else. You get comfortable with your easy target that you always got. He's my safety blanket. But with the big guy being out, you got to see McConkey's role expand a little bit more. You saw that whatever the transfer name is that they got from Missouri, I can't think his name right now, his role expanded. And Jack Saint, I thought he might be, I think that's his name, number one. I thought he would probably be that guy, but looks like he's kind of gone into like that physical receiver that they can go to for a first down, and he blocks on the edge. The running game, their running backs now look like, they stepped up and become a weapon there, where you couldn't actually running back committee. They got like 2 or 3 backs that they use. But I just think that everything kind of stepped up. And it kind of goes back to that point where you and I were talking that time and you were like the next man up. But it seemed to me, like I was saying, it seemed like the team stepped up and they got more well-rounded as a unit. Now, getting Bowers back that puts cream on the top. They'll be. I think Georgia's primed to at least. I think they're gonna make a real run for another time.
All right, there you go. Marla put it in the chat right there.
Yeah, well, if that's term of use unlocks it. I agree with that. I just think, like I said, other guys were able to say, okay, well, we can play. And Georgia said, okay, well, let's, like I said, we got away from our safety blanket. Let's use these guys. And it's helped out. Doesn't help all the time in those situations, but it does now.
Yeah, McConkey did ball.
No and that's my point. He had kind of disappeared because when they had Stetson Bennett, Stetson was using him a lot. You know, they had this kind of connection. I didn't think this year that I'd seen that kind of cohesion between he and Carson Beck. But right now,
yeah,
you know, maybe he's going to step back up and be more productive. Well, he has been anyway.
Hey, let's turn the page and go out to the Pac-12 where we're talking about the Colorado Buffs. They done lost 4 straight hand, and maybe we can get Bob, since he has connections on the West Coast, to tell us what is now the narrative for Deion after having such a exciting and entertaining start to the season, going 2-0 and putting up points and all this other kind of stuff. Shedeur had put himself in the Heisman race and all this other kind of stuff. To lose 4 straight now, and then to even add the wounds to it, and he switched offensive coordinators in the middle of the season. Well, switched play caller, demoted Sean Lewis, and made I can't even remember his name now. But he switched play callers in the middle of the season. So in your eye, what is the narrative now that Deion has lost 4 straight? Does his coaching X and O's come into play, or did we drink the Kool-Aid too quickly, too fast, or what is the narrative in your opinion?
Well, you know, he put a target on his back. He put a target on his back and on the kids' back. And going in,
he did the LeVar Ball.
Yeah, without a doubt. And going into this year, I think you and we had talked, and I said, and I wish I'd stayed with my guns, because I was like 4, maybe 5 wins, somewhere in there, 4.5, because he just didn't have the depth and he didn't have the strength along both lines. And the other thing you look at is when these are 18, 19-year-old kids, man, it's hard to have them understand what it takes to win week in and week out. And really, the season really turned for them in a negative way was when they lost to Stanford, because that game was over. And I think they understand, and they understood that's where the season went the opposite way. They had a lot of momentum going. That game was pretty much over. It was 29-0, I believe. And they ended up losing in overtime. So as far as what Deion, you know, I think he can take the criticism, because he's not going to change. He's still going to be himself. He's going to speak the same way, talk, because he knows what he has coming. The only thing he has to do now, though, he has to strengthen that offensive and defensive lines. He's going to get a couple of more playmakers, and then he has to recruit somebody to come in to take over when Shedeur leaves after next year, because I think he's going to come back. So to keep the program, if he's going to continue to do this, he has to keep feeding that monster, but he has to get some beef along those lines. I don't think Deion just strikes me as a guy that doesn't care about what the national narrative is. That's why, you know, he'll take all those slings and arrows. The kids are going to be kids. And then you have a fine line of, you don't want the public to turn on you by criticizing kids. That's why even Caleb Williams didn't take all the heat about crying, you know, on the field and going up and crying in his mom's lap. You know, you kind of want to stay off of that, because we're talking about kids, you know. And I don't think the kids really are going to take the heat. Deion, yeah, he's going to take it, but he's fine with it, because prime is going to be prime. You know, he's still going to talk that everything, talk the big game, and he knows what he has coming. So I think he's good. He's not worried about the national narrative, I don't think. Now, you're asking me what it is? Oh, people were waiting on this fall. You know how it is. They wanted this to happen. That's why it was so polarizing and popular. You had half of the people in the country wanting this to be, you know, lack of a better term, the only Division I HBCU. Then you had the other ones wanting this to be something that they could continue to throw darts at it. But we see it all the time. Whenever you're good, on the way up, everybody's on that wagon, but we get tired as a society, and then the negatives, the naysayer, everything comes out. So that's where we are right now with Colorado. Everybody now is out. I told you so. I told you he couldn't do this, whatever. But in time, it'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. Bob said Deion had to sell the tickets to pay his salary. So
he did, and he did.
I agree. Nobody want to go turn it around in 1 year anyway.
He didn't have enough horses there.
Let me see what else we got in the chat. Well, you said it, and Marlon said it too. The trenches got to get.
Yeah, they. I mean, Shedeur is getting crushed, man. He continues to get crushed. When you're dropping back and people are coming with when you're in a shotgun, you taking the snap, basically the defensive lineman handing you the ball. That's an issue, man.
Yeah, I do agree. Warren Sapp will help the staff once he gets there.
Let's hope he will. I mean, let's hope he will. What do we say? How do we know what Warren Sapp will impart in these young kids? They don't know Warren Sapp. How many of these kids know who Warren Sapp is?
No.
You understand what I'm saying? There's a disconnect there. Their fathers and all of them may know Warren Sapp, but Sapp had to rebuild his off the field and everything was going on. So again, you're going to take that. Now watch the narrative and watch the negative connotations that come out as long as Deion puts these guys that have had like kind of some shady situations that have clouded their careers. Watch how they, watch what happens if something happens with an offensive lineman or with a defensive lineman. You see what Sapp is teaching them. So there's a fine line that Deion has to watch and watch for, because if any of these kids border on, let's say, a borderline play, then what's going to happen? They're going to start accusing Warren Sapp of doing this type of thing, being a dirty coach or not, playing fair or whatever you want to do. There's always that negative tone that they'll use. So he has to be careful in there. But like I said, Deion, I think, handles the situation by taking all the slings and everything on himself.
All right, so let me put up what Bob just said, and you tell me, is this what most people think?
Yeah, he did lose in championship games. That's true.
2 years in a row.
Yeah, he did. Well, I mean, there's no combating that. The truth is the truth. And I hate when people try to take stuff and shape a narrative and change what really is. What really is, he lost those games. So, I mean, I agree with you, Bob. I mean, he has to prove that he can do the right things and make these, make the decisions to win these games. So he'll have his chance as long as he stays at Colorado. We'll see what happens. Moving to the Big 12, we'll see what happens there, because he'll be in a better conference, a more competitive conference. So he has a chance to straighten all this out.
All right, here's a comeback. Here's a comeback for that.
I don't know. I think in certain aspects, getting to a championship game is fine, but you got to win some of them. You can't keep losing them. You cannot keep losing them.
All right, Marta said this. That's all he needs. Yeah, I agree. I think that's the whole narrative at this point. He just needs some big dogs to try to see. Let's see him really recruit some big dogs now.
And that's the thing. You got to get them there. Yeah, because I didn't mean to cut you off, but you got to get them. You got to get the big dogs to want to come to a Colorado and play. Because when we're talking about linemen and things of that nature, you pretty much look at linemen and stuff like that in your Ohio State, your Michigans. That's where you look at line play. Maybe even in Alabama, places like that. Deion's got to sell that. because when you think of Colorado now, what we're thinking about is a lot of flash, a lot of, you think of Deion, you say, well, I'm going to go play wide receiver or in corner because that's what Prime really, that's what will bring you to the party. You think about position that he played and what he does in that respect. Getting Sapp may help in that respect. You understand what I'm saying? To help the fathers of these guys understand that, okay, my kid now is going to learn line play from a guy that I knew was a big time player. So we'll see, man. It's a lot that's got to go on. He does have to get some dogs, but he's going to have to persuade some guys to come there.
Now, when he gets the dogs, does winning big games become just as important as just flash and dash?
He's got to win because he's been talking about we coming since he wrote his name on that contract at Colorado. We coming. Well, that can only go so long. Right now, he's got a grace period. He'll probably have a grace period next year. But soon after that, it's going to be time to put up or shut up. Because, right now, like I said, everybody wanted him to be humble. And they feel like now his team and he got humbled. But he has to put up. Next year, like I said, he still gets time. But it's coming due because he won't have Shedeur after next year. He won't have Travis after next year. Mm-hmm. So he has to get it done. Whether that's it's kind of hard to say he has to win a national title, but he has to be in contention next year.
Okay. Now that'll speak volume is if he turns around a 1-win team and make him a contender in 2 years, then that would be saying something.
That would be big, no doubt. That would be
super big. All right, moving to the next subject. Jimbo Fisher gets the boot, but he also gets the briefcase. He walks away. He probably asked to get fired, huh? He walks away with $76 million left on his contract.
Boy, that lets you know how much money is involved. And then these universities don't want to pay these kids. That's crazy. You paying a coach $76 million and now won't even be on your sidelines. But you want these kids not to have any compensation for them going out there. And you think about this game, you say, well, they just playing a game. But Big Home, we've seen people not be able to walk off the field playing this game. Some people never walking again. So, yeah, you can say all you want about they're getting an education or whatever, but as much money as they're making for these institutions and everything that's going on, they deserve more compensation. It's crazy to me. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. Now, as far as Jimbo getting his money, it's capitalism. It is what it is. He capitalized off the situation. He left Florida State and he won a title there, got to a title game, second title game there, and Texas A&M fell for the okadoke. They thought they had something. And Jimbo went in there and has really done nothing with Texas A&M. What have they done as a university since he got there? To me, nothing. You think about it.
He had a worse record than Sumner.
Exactly, and Sumner had Johnny Manziel had this thing jumping down there. So it is what it is. But hey, he got his money, and somebody else will take a chance on him. He'll go. If Petrino can go get a job and move back up, believe me, Jimbo will find a job. He's going to wait for a minute because he wants that money to keep coming. And then, he'll eventually show up somewhere else.
Now, what about the people they're screaming they should go after Deion to come to the SEC?
Yeah, I don't think Deion's coming to the SEC. Not right now anyway. So what is he going to do? Move again and take Shedeur and Shiloh and everybody and go down to Texas A&M. Now I think does he still have a home in Texas?
In Dallas.
In Dallas, right? So yeah, I mean, he has roots there. He had his Truth organization, so he's familiar with Texas, I'm sure, without a doubt. But I think he wants to build something at Colorado. So I don't think he's gonna leave. I think he'll still stay there. I don't think he'll take the Texas A&M job.
Yeah, I don't think he would take that either. Who do you think will be a good hire for Texas A&M if you had your druthers to pick?
Man. That's a good question because I hadn't thought about who would succeed
Do
down.
they have more money than it sounds like they got more money than Oklahoma State, which is the Boone Pickens.
Yeah.
They got several Boone Pickens in Texas.
Yeah, well, I don't know. T Boone got some money, has some money down there. Believe me, T Boone Pickens.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't know what. Thinking of
But
another.
I guess that all go from Texas to Oklahoma because it's coming.
Yeah, but we've seen, like Florida, they had.
Would you be surprised if Urban Meyer get a call to come back to college football and go to Texas A&M?
I would not be surprised, not at all. And Urban would definitely listen because money is a great calling card. You can talk about business cards all you want, but you put a check in front of somebody, you're gonna get some attention. So that is a good call. I didn't think of Urban, but that is a great call. Maybe so.
So Urban is going to require them. He's going to at least. Man, Derek White looks so funny with his bald head. Every time I see it, I think it's Halloween.
He looks straight up off the penal farm. He looks like he's straight up.
But Urban Meyer is going to command at least $12 million a year.
And he'll get it. I mean, his resume speaks for itself. What can you say about his resume? What, you're not going to pay him? Look at the championship. Look what he did at Florida. Now, he's going to get some boys in there that ain't going to be choir boys. Believe it now. You got to get some dogs. You're going to get some people in there. But that's everywhere. Look at Georgia's program. And I know the people here might not want to hear, but, that bad term of thug, I won't use that on them. But you got some guys on there with some questionable past and what they want to do. And I think that's the only way you win. Look, this is not a nice sport. You got to be willing to hurt people playing football. I don't want to hear all that other stuff about you got to, this is everybody look out for each other. You need people out there who have no conscience, who have no regard for their body. So if they don't have any regard for their body, they don't have any for yours. So You can't win with nice guys in football. You just don't do it. I'll say it. You just don't. You need some nasty folks who ain't afraid to get a little bit dirty, and that's all it is with it. Now you guys got to hope that they can turn some of that off on when they get off the field. But you need some shady, borderline. You need some dogs.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. That's for sure. Cause boy, it's rough out there right now. It look like that's going to be all on our roundtable discussion. But we were supposed to have.
Maceo said the Aggies are loaded. I know we got to move on, but he said they loaded. So maybe it's they get the right coach in there. Maybe so.
I think
I still think they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Where we headed, big homie?
Yeah, I was gonna say Deshaun was supposed to come on, but the Big Blue, Maceo was saying they loaded with money.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, but the Big Blue took care of the Big Green last night, so he didn't commit, but he didn't answer until after halftime.
Oh, okay. So you think something had to do with that Duke game, huh?
No, well, he said he had some other stuff to do because I was online. He said, I reached out to him online. I was like, let me know when you're ready. He said, I'm ready now. I said, well, if that's the case, let's go ahead and do some Wednesday. Since we're in the college basketball already. And then I thought about it, like, well, I don't know. One of us gonna have an attitude by Wednesday.
So since we're on that subject, how you feel about your boys? What did you like? What did you dislike last night? And I know it's
So
early in the season.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you what my sources are saying.
Okay.
My sources are saying that they don't know if Shire is has that in-game coaching down pat yet.
Okay.
A couple of guys like the guy Caleb Foster, who went off for 18 last night off the bench. He didn't even score against Arizona, the game that they actually lost, but he wasn't in the game long enough. So I mean, he's still filling out. He's new to coaching as well. So I mean, I like that they, they look like the Hawks. It was more of a team effort, and that's the way he's kind of trying to stamp his identity to not have that one guy who stands out above everybody else.
But don't you need that one? See, that's what I think the problem is. Like you think about Krzyzewski and what started him. He had to find his guy, which was Johnny Dawkins.
Johnny Dawkins,
it kind of started that thing to happening. So, and then, Quasi's kept, Coach K ran through some struggles earlier, Duke. He had to develop into what he became. I'm sure there was some whispers about whether he was going to really be able to do this thing. So, Shire, I'm not saying I'm in this corner or blowing his horn, being a trumpet for him. I just think that when you're a young coach and then you following basically, you're following a legend, it's going to be some hard growing pains, but either they're going to stay with him or he's the stopgap guy till they find their guy. So I don't know. So if this doesn't work out, have you ever thought about, are they going to go outside the family and find the next coach if Shire can't do it?
The only guy that they ever mentioned to ever come to Duke outside of the family is Brad Stevens.
Really?
That's the only guy they've ever mentioned, period. That's the only guy who would get an exception to come and coach at Duke outside of the Duke family.
Do you think that's something that he would want to do, though? I mean, he's right now with president operations with the Celtics. Yeah. That would be, you think that's a step, and that a step down, a step back after being where he is this far in his career? I think he's still relatively young, though, right?
Yeah, he's not even 40 yet.
Are you sure?
I don't think so. Let me look it up.
Wow. I thought he was a little older than
he's a pretty young guy.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if the college coach is where he's going to go after heading up an organization like the Celtics and what he's doing there, with the success they're having, and I don't know, maybe he would want to run from having to sign two guys to $600 million. That's going to be tough because, Tatum is going to look for about 360, 370.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's 47.
Yeah, I thought he had to be somewhere along that line.
Yeah, but he from Indiana, so they all look a little young. I was gonna bring up a stopgap, but in between us, going from our hot news to something else. I was gonna talk about this Hawks team being in this tournament as they had their first tournament game against Detroit the other night, and they look good without Trey. So I was gonna ask you, how do you enjoy, or how are you liking the ball sharing aspect that E-Dub talked about, that is kind of their identity at this point? Each and every game, they got 5 to 6 guys, even as high as 8 guys in the double figures each. They playing the Knicks tonight. I don't know why am I looking at this Philadelphia game when the Hawks playing the Knicks at home.
Yeah, has that one started? I know that I got a Philly on also. I didn't know the Hawks had tipped off yet. But yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, they now are sharing the ball. People are shooting. It's not just Trey and the Trey Ayers or whatever you want to call them. You had to have more people that you could rely on to put the ball in the hole. I think they were too relying on Trey just jacking up shots or for a minute going one-on-one and always getting to the line and all that kind of stuff. So now I was hoping that they could develop a chemistry at guard, but I think that tandem that they have is one of the best guard tandems, at least, if not basketball, definitely in the East. You know, with he and Murray, Trey and Murray.
Yeah, Murray did. He got off again last night.
I know, that's what I mean, and I think they've learned to kind of exist together, and that's what you had to hope for, is that they learn to play together and not just be your turn, my turn, but actually, you know, have some continuity, getting other people involved. You know when to go, when not to go. So it's not just like, okay, I'm gonna watch you go off for 4 possessions, and then I'm gonna go off for 4 possessions. Seems like they're getting Bogdanovich in the game. He's making threes. The young Johnson kid is playing well. Sadiq Bey is contributing. You know, so from what I'm seeing, like you said, is being more well-rounded, and that's what you need. Now, you do need stars, because in the playoffs, you need somebody that can get their own and can make things happen. So, you know, and that might be a detriment when we come, because Trey is so small. You know, that's the only knock in the playoffs, when you rely your best player is the smallest player on the court. You know, we see that a lot, even with Steph. He gets kind of hemmed in or shot blocked or knocked down, you know, in those situations. When you got a big guy like a LeBron or Kawhi that can get to the cup, you know, and make that shot, finish through contact, those players kind of tend to be the best players to win through the playoffs.
What do you congratulations to Trey for having his second child the other night, as he sat out the Detroit game because of the birth of his daughter. So he has a son and a daughter now.
All right, congratulations.
Yep. And you done dodged that bullet by not. You got all boys.
All boys.
Yeah, you done dodged that bullet for a minute, ain't you?
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm not mad at that. Although I do have a granddaughter now, and boy, yeah, she take me down through there, man. Ain't no doubt about it. Ain't nothing,
I understand.
Nothing like it, boy.
You had to get one of them. You had to get one of them little shouters, don't you? Click, click.
No, I got it right there sitting beside her. Always.
There you go.
I got my company keeper.
Yeah. So funny story. Before we move on to our who we got next? I think we got our we got our Ballers and Busters next. But funny story, somebody shot me a text and said that they were trying to send some folks out there to Flower Branch to talk to Arthur Blank. And I said, y'all hold tight, because I got them Bankhead goons that's going to look for Mr. Smith. And he said, well, I said, they don't know how to get to Flower Branch. They waiting on me to print out a MapQuest, some MapQuest direction. And then they asked me, what you want me to do with it? I say, take him to Lake Lanier.
No, it's like that? Man, come on, big hoe.
No, hey, no evidence. Just take him there and drop him off.
I heard that. Let his feet play in the water.
Hey, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, you know, hey, I just figured that he wouldn't look if we gonna sink and try to swim our way through all this what he done dug, then he might as well feel what it's like to swim in this deep, the deep that he's built, that he's dug for us.
So which author you want to go?
Well, we got to keep the old one. Yeah, we want to keep the Home Depot going. We don't want to ruin our Home Depot stocks.
Okay.
But the other one, yeah, we can do him like Houdini. Now you see him, now you don't. But yeah, it's so Big Homie. You did hear that Arthur Blank, rumor has it that he's going to ride this out, and also have already committed to having him here next year.
No, I didn't hear that. For real?
Yeah, that Jeff Schultz reported that Monday. So, and then they had this interesting statement at the end. They, after saying all that, they said that the wheels will have to unravel in order for him to make a move this year. And my question is, well, what the hell are the wheels? What they doing now?
To me, the wheels already came off the bus, man. I agree with you. I don't know what more you need to not move on from this dude, man. He's in over his head. He is not an NFL head coach. I don't believe. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, maybe I don't know, man. Maybe when you get that vote of confidence, sometimes that's really the kiss of death. So maybe this is what it is. Maybe it's the kiss of death.
You see what Marla said in the chat?
Yeah, I see it. But I like I said, that vote of confidence sometimes is the worst thing you can get. So if everybody's saying that he's, his job's not in jeopardy, maybe it will be.
What would you do if you were the owner? How could you fix this situation?
But I think the last 2 weeks has shown me enough. When you lose to a quarterback that didn't even know who he was playing with, I'm serious. Josh Dobbs.
He was still staying at the Minnesota facilities.
Yeah, there's no reason, and then the next week you lose to a quarterback who was coming off an ACL, who hadn't even played football in over.
He played in 11 months.
So, I mean, I just don't understand it. Yeah, okay, yeah. Your offense, your defense wasn't able to contain or whatever, but you're the guy. You're the one that's in charge. And you're losing games at a time in a division that is – the NFC South is horrible. It is. It's a bad division. And honestly, Harden, like I said to you before, to me, this division was there for the taking for the Falcons. And you're losing an opportunity, whether you say, I know what you were saying, like, well, you kind of sound like what I was saying for years about the Hawks. Why are you even worried about winning if you're not going to really have a chance to do anything or whatever? But I thought you could have built on something with this. And you had a chance to win this division, I thought. And this right now, you squandered a year of football. You really have. You wasted a year by not playing Desmond Ridder last year. You sat there and didn't play him until the end of the year, and that was stupid. If he was going to be your guy this year, you should have got him all the reps you could get last year. And didn't
even play him in preseason.
Right. So, I mean, why not play him? He needs to play as much as he can play. To understand the speed of the game, to understand when to check, understand coverages, pre-snap reads, everything is as much as he can get. Quarterback is a difficult position. And to have him sitting there, that made no sense. If he was going to be a guy, which I don't think he's a NFL top caliber quarterback, to be honest with you, or a quarterback that's going to lead you to anything, substantial. So at least you should have gotten him reps. And I thought that was a wasted year. And this is another wasted year in a weak division. I think 3 of the teams from the division lost last week, correct?
Yeah.
Carolina lost, Falcons lost, New Orleans lost, and Tampa Bay was the only team to win.
So what do you do after you? Who do you bring in, and how do you fix it after you discovered that this ain't going nowhere?
I think first you have to decide what you want to be. Do you want to be an offensive team? Do you want to be a defensive team? And when the pieces that you brought in the last few years say that you're leaning toward offense. So in that respect, to me, the one to go get is where we always say be enemy, because you want to turn your team over to somebody who's going to make the offense go. And if you're spending money, you spend a top 4 pick on a tight end who's really a downfield, a pass catcher. Then you spend money on Bijan, who's a game changer. You have a decent running back that probably could have been your starting running back had you just settled on him and not gotten Bijan. So I think you can get a quality second receiver, or maybe you can do kind of like what Philly did. Philly went out and got Devontae Smith, who was the Heisman Trophy winner. You thought he was going to be your guy, but then you go out and make a move for A.J. Brown, which strengthened the top. So maybe there's a receiver out there, Stephon Diggs, who's unhappy in Buffalo, that you go out and you try to get here. You understand what I'm saying? Now you really strengthen that offense. You put a Stephon Diggs on the field, Bijan.
Who's going to throw the ball?
Well, I mean, Josh Allen wasn't a good quarterback at the time. When you put enough talent around people, you make them better. Look at Purdy. I mean, Purdy's not the greatest quarterback. We've seen that. But if you put talent around them and you put out some linemen in front of them, put the right principles in front of him, get the ball out of his hand, he can compete. People like Stephon Diggs can make a difference. Now, whether he wants to come here or not, that's a different story. But maybe Bieniemy could be that piece to bring him in. I don't know. I'm just trying to say fix the offense. You slide what's the wide receiver that you picked from Stanford?
Drake London.
Drake London goes over to number 2. You bring in the number 1 in Stephon Diggs. You got Bijan Robinson in the backfield, and you got your tight end Kyle Pitts. That's nice weaponry, man. You understand what I'm saying? You got something there, and your quarterback. You just have to now you protect him, but I still think you put more weapons around him, then that offense could click.
You take Bieniemy over Ben Johnson at Detroit, the offensive coordinator?
I think Bieniemy deserves a shot. Yeah, Detroit is looking good. Ben Johnson, if that's the way you want to go, that's fine. But I think, like I said, it has to be an offensive coach. You can't come in here with where you've been picking and grabbing all these offensive pieces and bring in a defensive-minded coach. I don't think that's it. But we're talking about not with Arthur.
Yeah,
we're talking about with Eric Bieniemy. Yeah, I'm not talking about Diggs coming in here with that. I'm talking about with Smith out of here. If you have an offensive-minded coach, so I do agree with you, Marlon. Yeah, he probably would. Arthur Smith would have him blocking. But we've seen receivers come in and make players, quarterbacks better. Look, what did you think of Jalen Hurts before A.J. Brown got there?
He was decent. I mean,
but did you see him being a borderline MVP, taking a team to a Super Bowl?
No, I didn't see that.
That's what I mean. Do you see how much Tyreek Hill makes Tua better? So a receiver can make a difference in an offense. Oh, and I'm sitting here tripping. There's another receiver out in Oakland in LA, Las Vegas, that ain't real happy.
Yeah, that's true.
So Devontae Adams, make a move, do something. Make something happen, make something shake.
Another question, and I saw this online as we had many people talking about who can replace Arthur Smith. Sean McVay name came up. Experienced head coach, Super Bowl winning head coach. He went to Marist High School. He's from Georgia. What do you think about that move?
Sean McVay with the Rams.
Yeah,
How they gonna get him away from the Rams?
I think this is the last year of his contract.
Yeah, I don't think he leaves Cooper Cup, Puka Nakua in the situation that he's going to be with the Rams. They probably getting out of some of the bigger contracts. You know, they made that run. They said whatever with the picks, mortgaged everything, and were able to get that. I'd have to look at what their financial structure is as far as their roster and salary cap implications. But I don't think that he's going to leave a situation to what he has to come here unless, unless it doesn't work out in LA. But I don't think the Rams are going to get rid of him. I think they're going to pay him and keep him. I don't see him getting out of LA.
Okay. Is there any other veteran coaches that you possibly could bring here if you had the opportunity?
I'm just being honest with you. The Ben Johnson situation is intriguing, but I'm just being me, man. I think it's time. I think he would at least. I think he deserves a shot. I think you bring him in here, let him build the culture. You know, we've seen even at Washington, their offense, they throw the ball downfield. At least they make something happen. You know, he throws the ball, that offense clicks sometimes. Sometimes it looks a little disjointed, but
yeah,
it's looking better.
And Sam Howell was my quarterback this week in fantasy. So
how'd he do?
Well, I won.
I'm on a little slide right now. Stevie J is kind of licking their wounds a little bit. We'll be back.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I did so well. I'm actually in first place again.
I saw you.
After struggling, I'm like, boy, we had to turn this thing up. So maybe Arthur Blank need to consult with me and see how to turn that thing around. Because
maybe you can do it. Maybe you can do it. I mean, my thing on the Falcons though, are they going to be tied to Desmond Ridder? What do you think? Do you think that he is the answer for the Falcons at quarterback? You know, for the foreseeable.
I don't think that he is the way that he looked. Now, if you bring a Ben Johnson or a Eric Bieniemy in here where he looks a little, where you put him in a better situation, then I make him go with that. But to me, most of what his issue has been is that he hadn't studied film work. Just hadn't studied film work. So, and that's something you have to, you have to do with your coordinator and come in and they have to show you how to, we don't know if you know how to read defense. I don't know. Do you know what a cover 2 is? Do you know when the zero blitz is coming?
Yeah. Well, that's all in the pre-snap. He has to understand that, where the pressure might be coming for the slide, get his protection slid their way or whatever. So I don't know if he knows those things. I'm not in those meetings. I don't know, but I know that for him to be successful, he has to know that he doesn't have the talent to make something happen if the play breaks down. I think that's where in the Colts, when you look at what's going on with them, and they're so excited about their future with their quarterback, because knowing that if something doesn't go right, he has the ability to make something out of it. He has that Cam Newton ability, and those guys, a lot of times like that, they do that helps as they're young, but as they go on, they have to develop more. Big homie, can I hold you? I got to get off for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, do you think?
Hello.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. As Hancock has to take care of some business, we gonna move on, and I'm gonna let you guys go first. We finna get on into our ballers and our busters. Yes, sir. Ballers and busters, sponsored by Jay's Used Cars. If you're looking for a new car, used car, pre-owned car, Jay's Used Cars is the place to be. Go over to 3820 Lawrenceville Highway, Tucker, Georgia, where Jay's Used Cars is right there to serve you. Just mention SRT Sports Roundtable, gets you 10% off of the down payment or the price of the car. Ballers and Busters, yes, sir. So go ahead and put your Ballers and Busters in the chat. We're going to call them out in hand. I'm going to go first with our Ballers and Busters. This week, I got 3 ballers. I got my fantasy team, the ATL Blue Devils, for finally getting me in first place. Secondly, I hope I didn't take yours, but I'm gonna have to go with your boy, that Dakota Prescott.
Wow.
Yeah, Dakota shut some folks up this week.
Not me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got people saying, well, I mean, they did play the Giants. I'm like, well, yeah, that's true. But in fantasy, it don't matter who you play, as long as you're putting up points.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't have him in fantasy, but it is what it is. And my last baller for this week hand is going to have to be Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm watching him here now, but what he has done since the departure of Mr. James Harden, it looks like he's been waiting on his opportunity.
Yeah,
he had a 50-piece the other night.
Yeah, we saw flashes of him last year and some things that thought about what he may become or whatever. But man, he is turning this season. Like I said, I talked about the 2 Tyreses. I think Tyrese Maxey and Tyrese Halliburton right now, man. Those 2 kids or 2 guys. It's not calling kids, but those 2 players, they're ball. So I do agree with your baller right now. I think both of those guys could have been ballers of the week. So yeah, I'm not mad at you for taking Tyrese Maxey.
All right, and Marlon said his baller was the Denver Broncos. Shouldn't it be Russ Wilson?
But the Broncos, I'm okay with the Broncos. They helped me get a little fruit cups this week, so I'm happy with that.
There you go.
Yeah, right, my ball is CJ Stroud, man. The young fella, okay. Man. Is it too early to say that the Carolina Panthers took the wrong guy? I don't know.
No, it's not too early to say that.
Not too early.
No, it's not too early.
Woo. So
because what do you always say about Trae Young?
Too small.
And is Bryce Young bigger than Trae Young?
I don't think so.
So, Han, how tell me how are you going to put that much equity into a guy who's not even bigger than an average point guard in the league?
But pre-draft, they talked about how he could read the defense and break down film and everything like that. So I think the game is there for him, whether he develops into a player or not. Maybe he'll get a little bigger or whatever. I don't know, man. But right now, he just looks so small. I agree with that, his stature. I'm still not going to say that he won't develop himself. I'm not going to say that they took the wrong guy yet. But it's going that way. CJ is looking like he will be a perennial, league Pro Bowler, throughout his career, as we see right now. So I don't know.
CJ Stroud, what, 6'3", 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, somewhere in there. 215, 210, about 210 maybe, you think.
Okay. Yeah.
215 maybe, I don't know. But he looks
and can throw the ball.
Throw it. And his arm, that's the thing. Arm is stronger, no doubt about it. Bigger, maybe faster, I don't know. The thing about, I won't go and just totally go negative on Bryce because it's his first year or whatever. And I don't think he has the pieces that CJ has, to be honest with you.
Well, hey, I don't think we going negative on Bryce. We just big upping CJ because my thing is, you always told me,
big good, be little good.
There you go.
Yeah, always Big Good. Take Big
Always,
Good,
right?
look good. Right. That's it. You know, hey, Big Good just better. But my thing on it is, the reason I'm holding out on Bryce is because when I saw him at Bama at first, and he got on the field that first year, I was like, I don't see it. You know, I didn't see it. When he came in as a freshman, he played a couple of games, and I was like, this dude, they talking about he's all that, and I saw him in the spring, I saw him there, he just didn't pop. But after that second year, I saw something that was special in him. So I don't know, maybe he adjusts to the speed of the game. For some reason, he's succeeded at every level he's been on. Now the NFL is different, but I'm holding out one more year. I want to see what happens if he takes that jump from rookie to second year quarterback, and they get some pieces around. So I'm not going to pull the rug out yet.
Okay,
I'm gonna wait. So Stroud again, my baller, 23 of 39, 356, touchdown, had an interception, but the key was leading his team on another game-winning drive. That's 2 weeks in a row where he's gotten the ball, had to have points. This time he battled back from adversity of an interception that put his team down, really. But for him to drive his team down and take him down for another win, and they're in contention, man, to get in the playoff, you know, to win the AFC South. And actually, with what he's doing, he's starting to get some MVP buzz. So yes, CJ Stroud, man, my not MVP, but my baller this week.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind because we're gonna talk about that a little later.
Okay.
All right, here we go with the busters. I had Stephen A. Smith in my buster for something. I can't even remember what it was. But I'm gonna go with the Falcons until I can think of it.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you lose to a 1-win Arizona Cardinals team? And how long have we been talking about the Falcons having problems getting to the quarterback? For the last decade, right?
Right. It's been a while.
So if you can't get to the quarterback, you can't at least contain
John Abraham.
Right. At least contain the quarterback. The last 2 weeks, the quarterback scrambled outside of containment to pick up first down in crucial situations. And it was 3rd and 16. And you talking about a guy who has not played in 11 months, coming off of ACL. And all you got to do is just make him throw. Just contain. Keep him in the box and make him throw. He runs for 16 yards on the 3rd down. Come on, man.
Well, what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, that mobile quarterback has killed the Falcons. Dobbs killed him the same way last week. Mm-hmm. And then turn around now, we saw it again. So I don't know. Is that something that, you know, they can adjust to or whatever? You know, I don't know, man. It just looks, this team has continually made our sports Bible correct. What's one of the sports Bibles perfect text that you and I always talk about? Falcons as a favorite go against them. And you don't really lose. I can guarantee that's probably at least 80 to 85% wins if you go back and look. If they're favored, take the other team. They just are not a good favorite team. It just doesn't happen. So, you know, it's a lot that needs to be turned around here in this organization. Mobile quarterbacks we see now are their Achilles heel or their kryptonite. But I'm sure it's a little bit more than that. But right now, we see teams that have a quarterback that can get inside the pocket and you know, extend plays. They present all kinds of complications for the Falcons. Hey, my buster, the Buffalo Bills. You lose. You lose because you got a 12-man on the field penalty on a missed field goal that should have won you the football game. And the next day, you fire your offensive coordinator, and your quarterback is the guy that's throwing interceptions. You know, it's not the offensive coordinator. If you look at what Dorsey had done after taking over for was the head coach with the Giants. Can't think his name right. Dabo, or whatever his name.
Dabo. Mm-hmm.
Since he took over him, the Bills had been third in scoring for all teams in the NFL, only behind the Cowboys, I think, and someone else. And then you look at the quarterback QBR. There was only one quarterback ahead of Josh Allen, and that was Mahomes in QBR rating. So you take those two things, or your offensive numbers, and they've led in either one or two, or been 1, 2, or 3 in all those categories, and you fire your offensive coordinator using him as a scapegoat for something that happened that was out of his control. He's not throwing the interception. That's Josh Allen out there freewheeling and throwing the ball around. That's not him saying keeping 12 men on the field. That's stupid. So for him to get fired, and you use him, to kind of try to pull some pressure off yourself, what else you gonna do? Leslie Frazier, you had him last year, and your defense was one of the top in the NFL. He's not there anymore. Now you went from like 1 to 16. So if your defense coordinator's gone, your offensive coordinator's gone, you got a disgruntled wide receiver. The wide receiver's brother is saying that he needs to get out of there. Josh and Diggs had some issues coming into the year. I think they tried to kind of like gloss it over and say it really wasn't something, but I think it was more to it than what was let on. Because for Trayvon to come out and say the things that he's saying, which is going kind of against Josh Allen, that means he's been talking to Stephon about it. You understand what I'm saying? He knows more now. And then for Trayvon to come out and say that Josh didn't start balling until Stephon got there, it's a little bit more to this story. So all this other thing, Buffalo's a dumpster fire. If you saw a post I put on Facebook, the window is closed. In this year, it's over. So they're going to have to retool, rebuild, or whatever. But the thing about it is you were able to get this team to a level because Josh Allen wasn't making all that money. Now he's making all this money. It's going to be hard to fix.
All right. So, Josh Favre. All right. I think Marty had his buster. And we can read that. He going ham on his buster.
Yeah, well, he still left out one man.
Who he leave out?
He leave out James Harden. And I know I saw your post about tomorrow. You see it was everybody else's fault, but they were playing a lot better till they brought him in. I'm telling you, that's the issue. You got Westbrook now where he was playing better. You brought him in, and everybody else's game is suffering. So, that's just my point on it. That's my views on it. Might not be what everybody else feels, but I just got called like I see it. James Harden is killing everywhere he goes, man. And I'm not meaning in a good way because they were playing better. And now they've lost every ball game since he's been there. So I don't know what else you need to see. You saw what happened in the locker room. When he came into the locker room, everybody else was like it was a cloud that was brought over. Look at how Philly is playing since he left there because it's a new day. Everybody feels better. Let's just be real about it.
All right. That's it for our bottles and busters, hand. You didn't hold back either.
That's just the way I see it,
All right, let me see if I can get an update on these Hawks real quick. Let's see here. Didn't get a chance to get up and turn the TV.
Hawks looks like I got them 52-51 Hawks with 3:04 left. Second quarter.
Okay, I got them 49-47. but
Yeah,
that's
Lily.
just ESPN ain't updated. All right,
Yeah.
so real quick, before well, let's go ahead. We can go ahead and get into our roundtable discussion. But hold on, Marta said he got something to say. He said Harden isn't to blame.
I can't. I don't know, Big. I hear you, cuz I think that's the problem. He ain't never getting the blame. He forces his way out, and everywhere he goes, turmoil is there. I mean, I don't know what else needs to be said. I don't know what else needs to be said.
I look like Marlon agrees with him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
All right, well,
if
let's get
Harden
into
is
our
your,
roundtable.
if Harden is your leader, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. All right, our roundtable discussion sponsored by Bo Bell Basketball. Yes, sir. If you're looking for some improvement in your game, Bo Bell Basketball is a place to get some improvement. Go to CoachBoBell.com for more information. He got Bo Bell South, North, and Midtown. You have no excuse. He's all over town. So you can get the Bo Bell Basketball at any side of town that you need to get to. Show some improvement in your game. All right, Han. Let's go ahead and get this thing ripped off. And we're gonna go with what I thought, what I've learned, and what I now know. All right, I'm gonna let you go first. So I'm gonna ask you, give me a thought.
And I know this is gonna sound like it's piling on, but I'm gonna be honest with you. What I thought was the Clippers were gonna stink when Harden came in, and that's what I thought. What I learned is that's the truth. Right now they're stinking. Will they turn it around? I don't know. But what I thought was that he would come in. You just have too many stars on the team for this to develop into something. Somebody has to be a role player, and everybody we're talking about right there needs the ball. Kawhi needs the ball. PG needs the ball. Russell needs the ball. Harden needs the ball. You got 4 people on there, and I understand about it. You might need more size, but you need more basketballs. And last time I checked, in the NBA, you can only play with one at a time, and all of them can't play with the ball. They're not going to work. Ty Lue got a problem. He can't coach these personalities, man. I don't know what they expect from him. So that's what I thought that this was not going to work.
All right, I'm ready.
Big homie, tell me what you thought going into this weekend.
I thought that the Falcons would play a better game than they did.
So what did you learn about that?
I learned that I was correct a couple of years ago that as long as Awful Smith is the head coach of the Falcons, you can expect us not to win. Period. And what I now know is that seems to be true because you got 7 games left in the season, and you mean to tell me that out of 7 games you have blown so many red zone opportunities off turnovers that, like, you in the bye week this week, what's going to change? All of a sudden, what? Awful Smith go rub the genie and figure something out? I mean, what are you going to do to fix it other than give up play calling? My only question about that, hand, is, and I've been asking people, why hasn't the GM, who's his boss, said anything about him giving up play calling? I don't understand. I just do not understand. Why would you continue to sit and do nothing I mean, we all see what the problem is. I mean, you're not taking advantage of. Look, they get a they get a picks. They get a pick. Every time they get a pick, you hoping that they have to score because they're not going offense. They gonna score. They on the 14-yard line, and on that drive you get a -3 yards, and you end up with 3 points.
Well, let me
if they scored, then this drive that Kyler Murray did at the end of the game, it doesn't matter.
When he was hired, what would you expect from him? You know, you normally see guys that come in from an organization, you expect whatever they did at their previous stop to be what they're going to do when they came in. Did you expect him to do what they were doing in Tennessee, which, you know,
No.
which bordered on, which I guess was the only thing they had was they had a top flight running back and a big time wide receiver, right?
Yeah. I mean, can we verify that he actually was calling plays there?
That's my point. Did you think he would come in and try to make this Tennessee, you know, style play here?
I mean, that's what they were saying, that's possible because of where he came from. But I didn't expect anything other than what I'm looking at now because I wasn't impressed with the resume.
Right.
I mean, it didn't, you know, how hard is it to be an offensive coordinator for the best running back in that 3-year span? And shouldn't it tell you something that when they were looking for a head coach, he wasn't promoted to head coach by his own organization that he was already in. They went outside and hired Mike Vrabel to come in to be the head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't that tell you something?
I guess it did tell you something, you know, but whose decision, who put the bug in Arthur Blank's ear that this was going to be the guy to lead his organization? That's
a phone call from Fred Smith.
It had to be more than that, Big Homie. It had to be. Billionaires don't become billionaires by making too many bad decisions.
Okay, a phone call that went like this. How would you like for us to be a heavy sponsor for the Atlanta Falcons, the FedEx?
So you think this was all about the dollar?
I mean, what else is it? I mean, he's selling out the stadium, and it is going to have to take a boycott for Arthur Blank to actually make a decision for the season ticket holders and the people who go down there and support him. You know, you always say, Big Homie, if you hit them in the pocket, they'll pay attention.
No doubt. No doubt about it. That's the only thing that moves people with money is losing money.
So that's the only thing that'll do
it. Okay.
All right. So here what Marlon said. Whenever the head coach is hired before the GM, that is a telltale sign. I agree. Yeah. You did know that, right?
What, that the GM came in behind the head coach?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And normally that if the GM has any power, he's going to want his guy in there because his job depends on what the head coach does. So, right. And the GM accepting that job, that should have been something that he put in there is that, look, okay, we'll go along with this, but if this doesn't start to work out in a year or two, I need to get my guy. If you're going to let me run this organization, I got to get my guy in here.
Which leads me to say he still hadn't said anything yet.
Tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm mistaken, wasn't there kind of an edict that came down in the beginning of the year that he was on kind of like a hot seat or on a like a shorter leash that he had to do something in this year or else he would be moved? That being Arthur Smith.
He didn't go that far. He just said that this is the third year I need to see some improvement.
Right. But that's what I mean. Okay, they see the stock getting hot. So how if he loses? Let's say he loses again next week after the bye. He's already lost. Who do they play next week?
They play New Orleans after Thanksgiving weekend.
Is that in New Orleans? That here?
It's here.
Okay. New Orleans is not playing that well, so that could be a win. But that's always a tough game. That's a rival game. They both came into the league in the same year, and that's a big game in New Orleans and in Atlanta every year. All the fans and everything get involved. So it'll be a lot at stake. Let's say he loses that game.
Then Terry will be happy.
If he loses that game, you don't think there'll be heat on him and he might be out after a week of getting prepared and getting ready?
I just told you what Jeff Choate said, that he's going to ride this 7-game out with Arthur Smith, and that's that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why would it take 4 losses in a row to get your attention, Han?
I mean, a lot of times you don't want to panic, and I feel you want to show stability. That's the thing. You don't want to just make decisions just to make them.
You're showing stupidity by continuing to hand again. The wheels are off the bus.
But normally, what happens is you have to have some starts that happen with players. They have to start being disgruntled. You have to see that the message that's being put out there is not being accepted. So I think that's got to be part of it. When Arthur Blank sees that, and maybe some of the players start to express discontent.
Did you hear the video of Drake London after the game?
No, I didn't. That's what I mean. What did he say?
Yeah, so Drake London said, "I'm sick of losing. This not what I do."
Right, but then it has to be something saying as to going toward leadership as to why you're losing. If he starts to say, "Well, we just not doing it," but if he starts to voice that, we're not prepared, we're not being put in the best positions to win, and starts to say things that kind of lead toward the people at the top, then you're going to have that problem. That the players, when especially the ones that are old money, the ones that are supposed to be your lead guys, when they start to voice it, then you're going to hear about it. You'll hear some problems. So I'm waiting to hear it.
Did you hear what I think Cordell Patterson said after the Minnesota game? He tweeted out, Do you know I do this?" Or something like that.
Who said that?
Cordell Patterson.
He said, did he know he do that?
He put a video out of him running the ball and said in the video, I do this. So I'm not understanding I understand what you're saying, and that's fine too, but the wheels are absolutely off the bus at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's the guy that could put the wheels back on.
I don't think he's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's the guy, but like I said, I think it has to be the point where the team has to say, this ain't it. We not happy. We can't play for this guy. The same, something like what happened in Las Vegas when the team just turned and said, we not listening no more. You had your star players and Jacobs and then Adams. I'm sure that behind the scenes looking and said, this ain't working, So they got Josh McDaniel out of there. So I think that's what's going to have to happen. You got to tell whoever your leaders are in Atlanta, they have to start expressing that this is not working. Whether that's some defensive guys or whatever, whoever the leaders of this team is, who's the leader on this team? Who do they look up to? It's definitely not Desmond Ridder. He's your quarterback, but I don't think he's
it was great. It was great, but
right, but he's not playing anymore. Right. So who is it? Is it I don't know, because I don't know who might be the lead guy on that team. Who do they respect? Who are they going to follow?
Maybe therein lies the problem.
True. That probably is part of it.
I can't agree with Marlon more of what he just said, and I said the same exact thing. This is the problem with when you see his antics on the sideline, doesn't he look like a spoiled rich kid to you?
Yeah, you look at that dude, man. He just doesn't fit the profile of the head coach to me. When I look at him, I just don't see it, But hey, it is what it is. He has the job, so moving forward, you either gonna ride with him or you got to get him out of there. And like I said, it's gonna come down to the players. I don't think Arthur Smith. I don't think somebody mentioned that your GM didn't have any power or whatever. He's just a figurehead. So I don't know. We'll see. But I think it's going to come down to the players having to come in and voice their opinions. If not, it's just going to continue on.
So who do you think 4-0 is rooting for next Sunday?
If he doesn't have the power, it doesn't matter who he roots for. But I know if it's his job and how he's going to be judged is on whether he's putting a product on the field that wins. He probably wants the Falcons to lose so he can get his guy in there. And who his guy might be, I don't know. But I'm sure he knows in order for him to be successful, Arthur Smith is not the guy. So it may be, maybe he'll do some sabotaging. Maybe he'll be talking to some of the players. Look, man, y'all need to go in the office and talk to Arthur. Come on to the house. We got a cookout. I'm inviting Arthur over. Talk to him, do whatever. But something has to be said. If Smith is this awful Smith as you call him, some people are going to come out to make this thing happen to get him out of there. But I'm gonna be honest with you, big dog. If he loses next week, I think the fire is gonna be on his feet. I'm telling you. I think so. Yeah, I really do. They said Draymond got 5 games, big home.
Yeah, I just saw that.
He come over there and put him in a full Nelson, baby.
Yeah, he yoked him.
Yes, sir. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like I said, Draymond's game is gone, and pretty soon if he keeps doing stuff like that, they're gonna pull his podcast. That's right, Marlon. That's what I'm talking about. Go up, yeah. It's time for a mutiny. It's time for a coup. They got to go do whatever they got to do. If I'm Fondo, I'm talking to every player that I know and saying, look, hey, man, go up in the office. Y'all need to go see Arthur. And then Arthur blank.
Yep, Draymond get 5 games. I was just looking at that. What we doing with them Hawks though?
Well, I think you ride the first part and see if there's some pieces that you might need to move and tweak it to make the roster better. You see what you got right now. See how you coming along there. See what develops. I think, like I said, I like the guard tandem. There have been calls to move a couple of players. They did move to one person I thought they should have moved years ago before they signed him in Collins. So I think they're going in the right way, man. Johnson looks like he's going to be a player for you. Don't know if they have everything they need, but it's a step in the right direction. And the Davis look like a 7-foot prince coming in the bid.
Yeah, he almost got took out by who that walked up on him.
Who's that? AD?
Yeah.
I don't know who
was that. Desmond Bain?
Was it?
Somebody walked up on him. Yeah.
Memphis got some riders now. They'll fight.
Yeah, Desmond Bain walked up on him after AD pushed one of the guys.
Okay.
Yeah, he walked up on him and like, yo, you don't want none of this smoke.
Yeah, Memphis can't play basketball no more. They'll fight.
I'm gonna ask you about some. I'm gonna ask you for sure. I'm gonna ask you about a couple of guys in the NFL and maybe a team, and you tell me your thoughts on it. I'm gonna start off with I'm gonna start off with Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, I think that we were some of his bad habits and everything were kind of covered when he had Dabo. I can't pronounce his name. I think they put him in position to win. Getting Stephon Diggs really helped his game. And I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I just think he's a gunslinger. He has a lot of that Brett Favre characteristic, especially when you have as big an arm as he has. He think he can fit the ball in a lot of places, and I think that gets him in trouble. And then early in his career, what he did was able to move the chains a lot because he used his legs a lot. And I think as quarterbacks get older or whatever, they try to take them away even prematurely from what makes them better or makes them great. And what set Josh Allen apart was his being able to run the football. So I think them now trying to make him more of a pro quarterback, I just don't think that that's his game, big homie. I think what he is a football player. He can make plays. He can make plays down the field. But I think that not allowing him to use his legs a lot, instead of having a 2nd and 3, fourth and, a 3rd and 1, now those things have come into, 2nd and 9, because there's no running game. 3rd and 7 instead of 3rd and 2, which keeps drives alive. So a lot of that, man, I think is what's happening with him. So that's what I see with Josh Allen. Still think he's got game, but the window's closed right now on the Bills.
All right, Han. I just got a text that says, I've learned more about the game tuning into your show. Again, good job.
Appreciate that text, whoever that was.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the people. We got the Latin people watching the show, listening in.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir. So, all right, Han. There you go. All right, my next question is CJ Stroud. Give me your talk on CJ Stroud, and now there was some MVP talks after the last 2 weeks. Do you think he is legitimately in the MVP conversation if they can win their division?
He has to be, big homie. When you look at his numbers versus our perennial guys, his numbers, when you look at what he's doing compared to who we all think is the best quarterback in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes, his stats are better. When you look at him versus Burrow, his stats are better. Those are two guys that we look at right now as the best two quarterbacks in the NFL. And if his stats are better than theirs, his team is winning. That's the key. He's not just playing and they're losing. They're winning games. And he went into some places and won, so you have to give him respect. It's not like he's just on the team and he's putting up these hollow numbers. His numbers are comparable or better than a lot of the guys. That's why right now when we're looking, we're saying that there are possibly some defensive players that could win MVP. Is because there's not a lot of quarterbacks that's setting this league on fire. He is. So yeah, I think he's a legit MVP candidate. But it's gonna be tough because I think they're gonna lean to the defense this year.
But if losing to the Falcons, how many points should that take away from your MVP legitimacy?
It doesn't help. It definitely doesn't help. But hey, like I said, when you look at the 2 comeback wins that he has to give him some kind of, Yeah, you're right, big. You're right, because Jags pretty much may win that division, but it's still early. It's still got time. They still
Antonio Pierce. Kind of job he's doing for you.
Well,
2 games, 2 wins.
Yeah, and you know what it is. He's riding that momentum of the Wicked Wish is gone. the albatross around their neck, the black cloud, all that is gone. So everybody on that team feels good. And more than likely, a lot of guys liked him as a person and as a coach leading into this. And now having him as the one calling the shots, they're playing hard for him, and hopefully they'll continue. Whether he gets a legitimate shot to keep the job, normally doesn't work out well. We even last year, the guy who was that 2 years ago? The coach that came in and took over for what's my man name? What was the coach at Tampa Bay? Chucky. When he came in and took over Chucky and led him to the playoffs, they still didn't give him a shot. They brought in Josh McDaniel. So I don't know if they've learned from that. But sometimes you have to ride a hot hand.
Yeah.
So if he's able to get this team to moving, they believe, maybe he gets a shot. I don't know if Pierce is ready for it, but he may get a shot. He's learning on the job. He made a mistake last week calling throwing a challenge flag, lost the timeout. So all those things you have to learn, and he's learning on the job. So we'll see. I hope he does get a chance, but I'm not sure he will. But they're playing hard for him.
Who do you give the credit to in San Francisco? Is it Shanahan or is it Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator?
Well, I still give it to Shanahan because he's been there. He calls the shots. He's doing everything to make this team what it is. Wilks there's a lot of good defensive players on that team. And from what I understand is Wilks came in and he didn't implement his scheme. He had to learn what they were doing as a defense and then cater, stay in line with what they were familiar with. You didn't want to come in there and take his whatever defense he wants to run or whatever and make these players adjust. Then that's part of good coaching. You come in and find out what they're good at and you adjust what you implement into what they're doing. So in that respect, I think he's doing a good job, but I'm still going to give it to Shanahan.
Another thing, Han, and I'm just bringing this up. Steve Wilks and Brian Flores were both free agents at the time in the summer. And you could have brought in either one of those guys to run your defense.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Wilks was an interim head coach at Carolina, so he knew the scheme of the lay of the land in the NFC South and things of that nature. He was pretty familiar with the Falcons because he played them twice a year.
Right.
If you can't teach your guys, Ryan Nielsen, how to stop knifing in and breaking, and you lose containment, and you done miss over 20 tackles in 2 games, which has caused you 2 L's. Just the defense is playing solid. I'm not taking that away from the defense, but it could be better. It could be better, and I think that's another. Again, who has the power in this situation? If Terry Fontenot don't have any power, then why does he have a job?
I don't know. I can't answer that question, man. I don't know what he did in the interview to, let Arthur Blank, choose him. I don't know. I always wanted someone else in that position, and he didn't get a job. He hadn't gotten a job around the National Football League, so it may be something else that he's dealing with. But I don't know. And why would he take someone from an organization that you pretty much are your hated rival? Maybe he thought he would be weakening their organization. I don't know. But I don't know. Fontenot got the job. Somebody say a minority hire. Maybe so. That could be it too. I have no clue. I don't know what in Fontenot's past allowed you to feel like he was the guy, but he got the job.
You mean to tell me that Ryan Nielsen has a better resume than Steve Wilks and Brian Flores?
I don't know. I'm honestly shocked that Flores is still able to work in the National Football League with him being part of that lawsuit against the league. I don't know how that even happened. I was totally shocked. I never thought he'd work in NFL again. In any kind of capacity. And maybe they just want to do it because they're not going to give him a head coaching job. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to save face, but I have no clue, man. I don't know.
All right. Give me
Yeah,
your
because you
top
talking
five.
about who I'm talking about, the coach that had the Raiders
Yeah.
in there. I think they made the playoffs that year after
Mhm.
Gruden got fired.
Give me your top 5 NFL teams right at this moment.
Whew, man. I'm not particular order. I'm going Detroit. I'm going to ease the 49ers back up in there. I'll call them out and then we'll go with that. I think the Browns are there. I'm still going to put Baltimore there. I think Baltimore gave the game away more than Cleveland won the game, to be honest. I think Cleveland capitalized. But Baltimore, I think, is a quality football team. And off the top of my head, I'm just calling because I can't think of who else. I know I'm missing something.
You got Kansas City.
That's
Dolphins.
the other one. I'm going KC. I think the Dolphins are paper on paper. When it rubber meets the road, physical teams, they haven't lived up in 2 big matchups. So I like KC, Baltimore, Cleveland, 49ers, and Detroit. And that's not the particular order, but those are 5.
No Eagles.
Oh, I'm glad. You see, I should have done my homework before we talked about this, but I didn't get a chance to get in. So I apologize to everybody out there. The Eagles, I'll put the Eagles in over. I'll say over Baltimore right now because Cleveland beat them head to head. But that's just because they beat them head to head. I think I really got 6 because I'll put Philly in there.
Okay, I got Philly, Ravens, Kansas City, Detroit.
The only reason I think I would maybe go
and I'm going with Dolphins.
I might flip that thinking right here and take Baltimore over Cleveland because of the quarterback situation. With Cleveland losing now with Deshaun, now we can look and say Deshaun, well, he might not have done a lot for them anyway. Yeah, that might be true, but he's better than the options that they have when you look at what they have behind him. With PJ and you're talking about DTR. I don't think he's ready at all. So that would be the only reason. I would take Baltimore over Cleveland. So I'd take Cleveland out of the equation. I'd put Baltimore back in.
All right, Martin done put his up.
I see him. And that's going to be a good game there. What's that next week? Eagles and Chiefs?
Oh, look, he going 8. You got the Cowboys in there.
Yeah, Cowboys looking better now, but like I said, I kind of want to put them in the Dolphins kind of in that same tier because when they play the quality teams, they haven't been able to get there. So right now, if you got a team that they can really kill, they're gonna kill those teams. But I want to see them beat a quality team.
Did you were you happy with Dak this week? I know you wanted to kill him last week.
Like I said, Dak gonna Dak, man, and they played against the Giants. I think they beat the Giants 80 to about 16 this year in the 2 games. So I really don't take a lot out of the game. Yeah, they're pros. The New York Giants are a professional football team, but they barely a professional football team. So I can't be too ecstatic or happy about that. They did get the win. Win is a win, but I wasn't really too impressed. They played a weak team.
All right, man. When you hear that music, you already know what time it is. We're gonna try to get up out of here on time tonight.
That's
we ain't
gonna
keep you too much long. Yes, sir. All right, man. We're gonna go shout out everybody who tuned in Sports Roundtable. We so appreciate it. All the new listeners, all the way from Florida. Ooh, we got Florida. Atlanta, Lithonia. We got them all over the place, man. Appreciate the new subscribers, new subscribers. Make sure you go to srtradio.com and fill out the VIP form and go to the YouTube page and subscribe to YouTube. Make sure you like the page and subscribe. It helps us get us through the YouTube universe. And had to reach over and grab something real quick. And if you haven't by now understood what it is to stay motivated in life, then you're missing out. And you're missing out because you don't have this yet. HM3inspires.com. Go ahead and go to the HM3inspires.com. Get you a copy of the best-selling book going on right now. Stretch Your Mind. Yes, sir. Stretch Your Mind will have you pumped and ready. And it have you pumped and ready to take on your day and keep it going and all that kind of good stuff, man. So, yeah, go ahead and get that, man. And that's all I got. All right, Han, what you got?
Hey, man, yeah, congratulations. Congratulations on my man as being an author. That's an awesome, big accomplishment, man. Big bucket list accomplishment. That's awesome, man.
Yes,
Proud of you. Proud of you. But yeah, man, shout out to all the people that tune in, cuz. Appreciate you coming in and sitting with us this week. Everything good. I'm glad and hope the family and everybody as well. Tell Auntie I said hello. And to all the other fans and tenants out there, we're going to keep it rolling, baby. Keep calling. And I like it. Let's keep this conversation going. Everybody don't have to agree on everything. That's what makes it good. So y'all keep them comments coming, man. We love it.
Yeah, keep them coming. Yes, sir. And yeah, that's how we're doing this thing, man. And we rocking and rolling. And it's gonna be a Thanksgiving special next week, unless Hancock, you ain't going out of town, are you?
No, I'll be here, baby. I'll be here. We still trying to get everything back together. So I'll be here.
It's gonna be a Thanksgiving special next Wednesday because you already know Turkey Day is gonna be up on us.
Know it.
Really, really quick. Matter of fact, I gotta go get my turkey wings for Thanksgiving. You know, I eat turkey wings on Thanksgiving.
I heard that. Well, you know, I don't eat meat.
I eat turkey too, but the turkey wings just taste better.
Well, I don't eat meat no more, big homie, so I won't be able to partake in it.
You know what? I would eat it for you.
Yeah, all the tenants, y'all eat all the turkey and everything that y'all got.
You go get you a vegetable plate.
Yeah, I live vicariously through y'all. So gobble gobble.
Gobble gobble. There it is. You already know. We so appreciate everybody tuning in, man. From coast to coast, from all over the place. We even got them in Germany, China, and Japan, and Tokyo. There's a rumor hand that Shohei would love to play here in Atlanta. So Bob said that he wants Shohei probably want to stay on the West Coast. So I'm not sure how solid that room is, but it is what it is. If we get it, we get him. If not, hey, we're gonna rock and roll regardless. But with that being said, for all y'all new listeners, if y'all don't know how we get up out of here, pay attention. All right, Han, let's roll, baby.
Boogie, I'm headed home, baby.
This your main man, H.O. from Bankhead. R.I.P. Moms and Pops. R.I.P. BC. And if you love the show,
tell a friend.
And if you didn't,
look like Draymond trying out for that WWE, baby.
Yeah, you already know, man. And we out. Peace.